All right, let's dive into a really fascinating story concept today. It's all about a new generation, but it's not just one type of kid. We're talking about three totally distinct groups of children who all show up on Earth at the same time, and each one is destined to completely reshape our world. Let's get into it.
Everything kicks off with this one simple question, but it's a huge one, right? In our modern world, with all its noise and its routines, a few kids start to get this feeling deep down that something is just fundamentally off, and they start asking, why?
So the setting is basically our world, right now. It's complicated, there's good, there's bad, but under all that noise, something new is starting to happen. It begins with a handful of children who are tuning out the chaos, and instead, they're listening to the quiet, to that feeling that something really important is missing.
And that brings us to our very first group. They're called the seekers. Think of them as the ones who represent the awareness of the problem. They're the canaries in the coal mine, the first ones to feel that disconnect and start asking those really tough questions.
This group is made up of just 3 kids, and they're born in completely different corners of the globe. They're surrounded by different cultures, different families, but they all share this exact same unexplainable feeling.
What's so wild is how they all act the same, despite being worlds apart. They all kind of pull back from normal kid stuff. Instead of playing games, they just watch. They start questioning their parents and elders, asking things like, has it always been like this? They're always drawn to mountains and high places, almost like they're trying to get a better view of things. And eventually, each one feels this powerful pull to just leave home and find whatever is missing. This quote from the story just hits the nail on the head. It's not about being rebellious kids. It's this deep, genuine ache for something with more meaning than just the day-to-day grind. They are the ones who feel the emptiness first.
Okay, now let's move on to our second group because this is where the story really starts to build. If the seekers are the ones asking the question, the architects are the ones who show up with a vision for the answer. These kids don't just feel the problem, they're literally born with the blueprint for the solution.
Now this group is even smaller, just 2 children, a boy and a girl, but their arrival is anything but ordinary. They're born on the very same day, and as they are, their stars literally cross in the sky. So you've got this cosmic connection right from moment one.
And their development is, well, it's just astonishing. Doctors are completely baffled by it, calling it an exponentially quick development. It's like nothing anyone's ever seen. By the time they're 2 or 3, they're not talking like toddlers, they're speaking with the wisdom of a 40-year-old who's already lived a full life. They have zero interest in playing with toys. All they care about is creating, with a level of understanding that's literally decades beyond their age.
But here's where their vision gets truly radical. Their plans, their focus, it wasn't about just fixing the world we have. They weren't interested in building on the ground at all.
Yeah, they planned to create something completely new, a world that was literally suspended above our own. I mean, talk about a paradigm shift for how you build a society.
And look, we're not talking about some little space station. Their vision was for entire floating cities. These would be totally self-sustaining societies, with the whole shebang. Homes, hospitals, even banks, all just floating in the air. A brand new frontier for humanity, all dreamed up by a couple of kids.
Okay, so we have the questioners and we have the builders. Now we get to the third, and honestly, the most mysterious group, the unit. And these kids, they don't just bring a new idea or a new vision, they represent a whole new way of being.
This group is made up of triplets, 3 kids, 3 separate bodies, born at the same time. But the line where one of them ends and the others begin is, well, it's almost impossible to find.
From the time they were babies, their parents noticed something was different. Everything for them had to be exactly the same. The same food, the same amount, the same color shirt. If even one tiny detail was off, all 3 would start crying at once. It's because whatever one of them wants, all 3 of them want it instantly. They act like a single, unified mind. When they look at something, all 6 of their eyes focus on the exact same point in space. It's uncanny.
The story sums it up perfectly with this line. They were 3, but they are 1. You've got different hearts, different minds, different bodies, but somehow they're a single, connected being. This is way beyond just being close siblings.
So how in the world does that work? Well, the idea is pretty mind-bending. It's like the decision gets made somewhere else, in some other realm that we can't see. And then, that choice just instantly appears here on Earth, acted out by all 3 of them in perfect, almost unnerving unison.
So let's just take a breath here.
We have these three incredible, totally different groups all arriving at the exact same time. You've got the seekers who question everything, the architects who build new worlds, and the unit who connect on a whole other level. So what's the big picture? How do all these pieces fit together?
Well, when you lay it out like this, you can see how perfectly they complement each other. The seekers give us the why. They're the ones who make us aware that our world isn't working right. The architects provide the what, that incredible vision for a radical new solution. And the unit, they provide the how. They're the living example of the kind of unified consciousness you would need to build and actually live in a brand new world like that.
So you end up with the questioners, the builders, and the connectors. Each one brings a critical piece of the puzzle. And the fact that they all show up at once, it makes you think this is no coincidence. It feels like a coordinated plan to kickstart a massive global change.
And that just leaves us with this final, really powerful thought to chew on. This story is an amazing concept, for sure, but it makes you look at our own world a little differently. If a generation with this kind of clarity and this kind of vision and this kind of unity were to actually arrive today, what parts of our society would they immediately see as broken? You know, what would they be coming here to change? It's a pretty compelling thing to think about.